Welcome to Class Clown, the podcast where we find out if being a disruptive little shit in school is actually a great career move. Today's guest is one of the most exciting comedy talents in the country, who has appeared on Live at the Apollo, The Jonathan Ross Show, and sold out the O2 Indigo. Born in East London in 1981, she's gone from causing chaos in an all-girls school, dropping out of uni as a single mum with no fixed housing, to then finding her feet and becoming an English teacher, which she jacked in only to become one of the most successful comedians in the UK today. But was she always destined for this? Or did she just take the longest possible route to getting on stage? We'll find out. It's Laura Smyth. Thank you for joining me.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Pleasure. So let's start from the very beginning. Born in 81
Yeah.
in Manor Park.
Yeah.
Do me a favour, draw a picture. What's Manor Park in the 80s?
Manor Park in the 80s is police outside the school at the end of our street because there were so many race riots.
Wow.
A lot of Asian kids and black kids would fight, but then a lot of white kids and black and Asian kids would fight then together. There was sort of a mass exit out into Essex. Like people were like BMP, and then there was a white flight to Essex. So anyone that, I know it sounds mad, but it was like that. But anyone that stayed was good. Do you know what I mean? Like amongst all of that, it was idyllic because we just were constantly playing out. It was really multicultural,
Old school.
really old school. Everyone was really mixed. So everyone was like, it was just great. It was, I think of it as a really fun street, and everyone was in and out of each other's houses. It really lovely.
The neighbourhood is the street. Was it the kind of that your world was confined to that street?
No, it was down by the park, Little Wilford Park, Ichiku Park of the Small Faces fame. So we were just lived at the park. We were just feral, basically. You went in, you tried not to go in, because if you were in, you had to stay in.
Yeah.
So do you know what I mean? It
Yeah.
was whole street football games, run-outs, curbsies, everything, water fights, roller skating. My mum, I was born in the house my mum still lives in. So
Wow.
she's still there. And so I'm the youngest as well. So I was just like this little scrote, like whatever anyone else was doing. My mum's house was one of those houses, like my mum's door was always open. Everyone was in and out of my mum's house.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like all the kids and that. And that was a house we knew we could go and fill up the water balloons. And, you know, it was like that kind of vibes. Do you know what I mean? And,
yes.
Until we spilt something and then we got cussed out. But it was just like my mum would like childmind other kids and, you know, like drop them off to school. Like it was just that kind of house. It was fun.
You said you're the youngest. You're the youngest of what?
There's 6 of us. So I'm
going to point this out to you. I don't know if you've ever heard that. That's a big number.
It is a big number. My 2 older sisters from my dad's first marriage, and then there was 4 of us like really close in age. Like we're all like 18 months apart.
Did playing out involve trouble? I mean, when I played out a lot as well, and that involved garden skipping was a big.
Go on. What's that?
So garden skipping is when you would start at the beginning of the road in someone's back garden.
Oh yeah.
And then you would try to get to the end of the road via their back gardens. One of the most adrenaline-fueled moments of my life, someone opened the back door. So I would have been a young teenager at this point. Someone opened the back door, and one of us set off the security light in the garden. So the man comes out, opens the door, lets out the dog. We got to run from the dog.
Oh.
At that point,
Beano. That is Beano dreams.
Absolutely.
That is.
Yes, exactly that. Dennis the Menace, right? I'm running. At that point, someone called my Nokia 3210 and my ringtone was Mission Impossible.
Oh.
So we were running away from a dog.
And then what did you do after you jizzed? Basically, of excitement. No, but that was, it was loads of that. It was like, Knockdown Ginger was a big thing.
Of course. So would you label yourself back then as, maybe retrospectively, even if you didn't feel it at the time, as a naughty kid?
Do you know what? I think we were like, in that context of everyone just messing about, I suppose, I think I always wanted to push the boundaries. I'd do anything for attention or a laugh. like I never knew, like, for instance, like, I feel like a lot of my childhood, because there's only one boy in my family. I'm still so close to my brother.
Wow.
I think I was expected to be a boy. And I think that, like, my brother kind of had the attitude of like, oh, well, you'll do. Do you know what I mean? Like, I haven't got a brother, but you'll do. So a lot of my child was like, look, I've got a good idea. And it usually was things like, let's cartwheel down the stairs, see if that works. And I'd be like, oh, yeah. Like, I'm still like this. Like, my whole life is sort of just impressing my big brother. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, well, absolutely. There's
Yeah.
a lot of, let's cartwheel down the stairs or whatever it
Yeah.
is. There's a lot of adrenaline
Oh yeah.
involved in that behaviour.
I think I'd always push things too far as well. Like I'd always push things like I like swearing. I'd swear for like attention, then get called into the house.
Attention, that thing of seeking attention, I think it always has a kind of bad rep in terms of that it kind of it hints at something. There's a reason. There's normally a kind of negative reason
Yeah.
that a child is looking for attention. Would you recognise that?
Yeah. I mean, there's a couple of things going on. One is like,
Sorry, being the youngest of six would be
yeah.
would be the obvious.
There's a
place
couple
to
of things.
go.
Yeah. So one is that you find your voice. I see it with my youngest now. I've got 3 kids, and my boy, he'll come going, 2 times 2 is 4, and like he's got 2 older sisters going, yeah, we know that. You can't ever present something to your older siblings that's new, like even music or something you're into. Yeah, didn't you know that? Like, and it sounds like I'm talking about some like deep trauma, but it's just like
no,
it's just like this shutdown. Equally, I kind of would describe my father as an absent father. He was in the house. Don't get me wrong. He died when I was. We'll get into that. But my dads just weren't like a factor. Do you know what I mean? Like maybe they were, but dads would. All men, until I met my husband, are just sort of people that rock up and cause trouble. Do you know what I mean? Like whether it was because he'd been at a card game all night, or whatever my dad had been doing.
Yeah.
It was just like, so if like dad was about, it was like, and also my dad was the funniest person. So really, it was to entertain dad. That was the game.
Okay.
You'd do bits. He'd be like, do that bit for people. Do you understand what I mean? Like
he's an audience member.
Oh yeah. He'd be like, all these mates around. He'd be like, do that bit. He'd be like, oh yeah, be funny. Like he'd just be a wind-up merchant, and like my dad would wind people up, and he had this thing where he'd go to kids. You've been telling people I'm mad. You've been telling people I'm mad. So this kid would be like squirming. And my mum, I don't remember this, but my mum said I was the first that went, no, I've been trying to keep it a secret like this year. So she said, you had a comeback for it. Yeah,
yes.
and she said you would have sort of, so it was like, I think I've got a mentality of like, I'm not going to be defeated. I'll come back with something sort of that's trained me well.
Was your house a household of rule?
No, not really. I mean, it's so I don't know about you, now you've become a parent. It's so weird trying to remember stuff with your parents. Like, like I asked my mum, like, what was my first word? When did I walk? My mum's like, I don't know. But I think we forget, we're really in a child-centric culture now. We've got all the books and we've all had therapy. So we're all like,
and the reels.
I'm going to do X, Y, Z, and I'm going to Instagram parent and all this sort of stuff. I don't think there was much conscious thought about how my mum parented. She just kept us all going. We're clean, washed, fed. Do you know what I mean?
You're alive, tick.
Tick. And also we were a pack, so as long as we were all doing. But my mum would be like, oh, don't say that on a podcast. But basically, it's not that we had rules. I don't, put it this way, I don't think we had rules, but you bloody knew when you broke them. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was all just like, right, because you all take the fucking piss, get a fucking bed. Like, you just knew when you're taking the piss. Does that mean? And I still pull out some of that old school parenting because I indulge my kids. But I realise there's just this bottomless pit of desire. So sometimes you just have to pull out that old school parenting. Well, the other day I just had like a sweatshirt and my knickers on. They were just like being pricks on Saturday morning, like, because you take the piss, like start anger cleaning. And you just start cursing out the whole house. And then you watch your darling little, let's face it, privileged middle class kids pinned back to the fucking orange velvet sofa that they're sat on against the fucking dark green Farrow and Ball fucking walls. And they go, ooh, mummy's making cockney noises. Do you know what I mean? Like, but that's just but we just found it funny. Getting in trouble was like, oh, we've gone too far this time. Let's scurry away. I don't think of it as like,
do you remember do you remember what it was that was too far?
Oh,
normally, by the way, I would say normally it involves just volume.
Yeah, volume.
Your mum's cup is full. Loud.
Yeah, your mum, like, it's just too much. You either fighting, taking the piss. You can talk about certain things and you go, oh, I'll do it differently as a parent. A lot of things in your childhood where you think you'll do it differently as a parent. But I never thought of myself as the centre of anything, which is good or bad. Do you know what I mean? It's like your parents rule the roost. You see what you can get away with.
Yes.
Then you soon find out you can't get away with it. Crack on. Do you know what? Like, it's quite healthy. Unreal.
And how was there a difference between Laura at home and Laura at school? So,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
well,
definitely.
that's interesting.
Well, in
But
this
I found, because I didn't have many rules, boundaries, guidelines, or
yeah.
I mean, they weren't even phrases,
Yeah.
boundaries.
Yeah.
It's almost cringeworthy hearing yourself say that now, but those things, they weren't really there in my home life. So that when I went to school, I think it was a culture shock of
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
what is this?
Yeah.
Why am I'm not allowed to do that, and I'm not allowed to do that.
Yeah.
And then because that wasn't kind of there at home, I then found that really difficult at school. Did you
Yeah.
have that a similar thing?
And yeah, I think some people thrive on that. Like, the thing is, I was always academically really strong. Like, in primary school, I was moved up a year.
That's
Like,
unbelievable.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I was
I
one of
didn't know
4
that happened
kids.
in this country. I thought that was an American film. What do
Yeah.
you mean you were moved up
Well,
a
I
year?
think it was year 4 it would have been. Instead of going up,
Y
I was bumped up 2 years and then had to sit the last year of primary school twice just because I just found everything really easy. I just found academic stuff really
ab
easy. So that's what I got away with. But I do recognise that I didn't I didn't understand, for instance, I never really understood, and this is probably testament to my parents, that adults weren't people you could just go, but that's a load of old bollocks. You like to. Do you know what I mean? Like, you
Yes.
go that you could argue with or discuss with things.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
in some respects I got a strong sense of self from that. Like, my mum just treated us like people. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
no, absolutely, and that's really interesting, a strong sense of self. Do you, which is obviously a good thing,
Mm.
and it helps remarkably in stand-up
Oh
comedy,
yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
that
Oh,
sense of
that's yeah,
self.
yeah.
Um, but was that, do you think that's then disruptive at school, a strong sense of self?
Yeah, of course. And another thing happened was when I was 10, so so I'd obviously been put up a year, done last. Then when I went into my last year of primary school, my dad died that summer. It's so weird, like, that feeling. It's more how it manifests, and I've seen it with my little boy because I was ill. I had breast cancer, and when he started school, this is all getting serious now, but he acted up. Like, he was basically going, like, because kids don't know how to express things. Do you know what I mean?
Did
So
he know what was
no, he
did
didn't, but it manifested in naughtiness. So I think that's what happened with me. From that, everything changed, where I was just almost crying out for something.
you
Do you know what I
really feel,
mean?
looking back?
Yeah. And then I started secondary school, and I realised my head was gone from then. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Wow.
where I was sort of crying out for almost like the injustice of the world to be acknowledged. Do you know what I mean? Like,
So
surely.
this is, so how old are you now? This, starting secondary school, we're 10, 11. We're
Yeah,
11.
yeah.
Oh, is that subconscious, or is it conscious
No,
at that
of course it's
point?
not
You
conscious.
said it is not
Nothing's
yet.
conscious. I mean, it's only when you look back. This is why you kind of can only access therapy in your 30s. It's all got a bit serious. But what I mean is, it was just like,
Well, this is why we're here, to know, to
you get
kind of
into
talk
that.
about that and get into that, and see really how these things that make you growing up, how they form who you are today, the performer
Yeah,
that is Laura Smyth. Because when we're talking about the past, we're not talking about a performer. We
yeah,
might not be, in most
yeah,
cases, talking about someone that knows that
yeah,
that's what they want to do,
yeah,
that that's what they're going to go on to be. So
yeah,
it's interesting to look back and look at, that it's fair to say, even from the little moment that we've had,
yeah,
that's disruptive.
yeah.
That's very disruptive to one's life, especially to a young person's life.
Well,
That's
yeah,
going to have a huge effect. And, is that what gets you to where you are today?
yeah. I think one of the big effects it had is attaching myself, and I think maybe we all had this. Who then I attached myself to. So as in,
There's
I
a
think
huge
I
hole
was,
there.
yeah, a huge hole. So I think I was very much looking for these sort of alpha, loud replacement people. So when I got to secondary school, even though I was loud and like this, the people I became friends with, I were people that sort of I perceived as strong. You know, these kind of
Absolutely.
naughty people, but really not. And like I said,
Were
because
they
I,
older?
no, well, yeah, maybe older boyfriends. That's what that started. Like, I went from being a real tomboy to then moving into sort of shitty crowd at school, and then like 12, 13, 14, 13, 14, like like going out with older people. Do you know what I mean? Like, seeking that sort of stuff. And that's where I'd sort of move as a pack, and even though it was not with my siblings, it was kind of like, it was sort of me finding, it was secretive. Do you know what I mean? Like, me just finding friends and being kind of secretive about stuff. And another thing about being academic, this is the thing about being academic and having, you know, you're a really intelligent person. You
Some
are.
would dispute that.
No, but you are. You couldn't do what you do for a living. But when you don't find the channels to let that flourish in academia,
Yeah.
you then define yourself. And I've done it. I've taught kids like this, because you can be gifted and bright. The skills, as we know, as we move through life, to actually really progress in an academic way is organisation, resilience, following rules, processing things. There's so many other things that are beyond. That are beyond just your natural intelligence or academic ability. Yeah.
How are you disruptive at school?
Oh, how's it? Oh, I mean, I can remember like marching on the tables. Like I remember like being so bored in maths, mostly because I'd done the work. I remember like just escalate. It's always escalating, like marching on tables. I remember bunking.
That's almost like being on stage, by the way.
Oh yeah.
You actually got on stage.
Yeah, of course.
In maths,
it is that,
and you're higher than everyone.
Oh, higher than everyone. Just always wanting to push in it. I was also an idiot. I'm still bad at this, realising people just chat shit. Like I would forget. Like we'd have beef with some girl and my friends would be like, oh, we're going to bang her out. And I'd be like, oh yeah, we're going to bang her out. But then I would forget that it was almost like they wouldn't do it. I'd end up having the fight. Do you know what I mean? Because I'd be like, don't say it if you're not going to do it. Do you know what I mean? Like I just back things too hard.
So climbing on the tables, backing things too hard, like fights. What it sounds like to me is you had quite a lot of freedom. Yeah. And freedom is a wonderful thing. Yeah. And it's a wonderful thing for a young person to have, for a child. It seems like when you read about, I only have a 2-year-old, but when you read about childhood in this day and age, it seems like they're not allowed to play out. That kind of freedom. And all of that freedom has been taken away. And we feel as a generation, feel sad about that. Yeah. The thing with freedom is it then, as I've kind of alluded to, it makes it hard then when you have to go into a system where, you know, being an adult, I don't think being an adult really, ironically, there is that much freedom. You have to work, you have to earn, you have to pay the bills, all of these things that you have to do. So sometimes that freedom, which is a gift, can actually end up, as you get older, being a bit of a hindrance and actually kind of holding one back, perhaps. Yeah, perhaps. But I mean, you don't have to agree with that, by the way. I mean, in terms of me, I mean, like as much as there was freedom, there was such safety and provision. I always say, like, a good parent should be taken for granted. I mean, to me, my mum was like Tom and Jerry legs. I know wonderful. that's not what you're referring to, essentially. That's great. No, but as in that's what it is. Exactly like she's like, you know, occasionally wave the broom at us. But do you know what I mean? But I think here's the sort of rubber in terms of if we're talking about then getting to here. You think there's going to be some cutoff. You're not. You're still that 5. You know, it's only when you look back. I mean, I'm looking at this picture. Like, I look at that picture and go, "Oh, bless her." But in my head, I'm just this person. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've just carried on being this person. That's you. Yeah, that's me. Okay, yeah. But like, no, but I mean, you feel what? No, but I can look at her. I mean, that's you feel connected to that picture. What I mean is things that I can look at it objectively as an older woman, a mother, and go, oh, that poor girl. Do you know what I mean? As in, I'm looking at it. Yeah. But at the top, but what internally, what's going on? You're still carrying the choices that girl made as though they're this 43-year-old choices. Do you know what I mean? Absolutely. You still can cringe out at choices you made rather than objectively go, oh, she was quite a lost little person that chose really bad friends and really bad boyfriends and kind of failed herself academically. So you internalize those failures is what I'm saying. So basically got in with sort of bad crowd. My mum got me out of that school. There was so many things going on with girls and bullying and crazy stuff. You're bullying? You're being bullied? No, yeah. I end up having one really good friend that I trusted and just a real toxic group that would just like, my mum said the reason she got me out of that school because she asked me one day how school was. I said, oh, it's all right. I just keep my head down. And that broke her to hear that I'd be someone that wanted to just keep my head down. Absolutely. Yes, I can sense that now from just everything we've discussed. Yeah. That doesn't sound right to me. Yeah, and she hated that. And Laura Smyth. No, with my head down. Not keep her head down. Well, but I love that you, I mean, it's so funny. Seann Walsh. This Laura Smyth. But this is what I'm talking about. I started comedy, Seann. Like, I'm listening to your comedy when I was 37. That's how fucking long it took me to really get my head up again. I mean, and that's what I'm talking about, as in you internalise all that shit. Sorry? Started at 37, where That is absolutely remarkable.
To become, but it took a long time, because if we then just like do the whistle stop montage, then I went out to this sort of fairly posh school way out in Essex with just like these 6-foot blonde girls that played netball. And I just became like more like, this is not me. And then I had a good sixth form experience, really. And I'm still best friends with the girls that I met there. Like, that's my life. I've still got friends from those days, but like that became really where I felt I flourished academically, because I was only doing A-levels.
When's this? How old are you?
So I'm 16.
You're 16. This is, sorry, after the all girls.
All girls. Then I went to a school in Essex for 2 years, which was just like a fish out of water. I hated it, really. Someone's contacted me on Instagram that I know from them days, and they're reminding me of stuff. It's a proper like trauma blocker. I couldn't tell you much about the whole time I was there, those 2 years, because I'd just come from just a really messed up sort of time, and
you didn't fit in.
Didn't fit in. Just didn't. But just chip on my shoulder about. I just didn't know where to put myself. If you see what I mean. Had a much older boyfriend that like felt like where I wanted to be, where my head was at. You know, it was all just a bit messy. Probably like scraped GCSEs. I mean, I probably got all Bs, but I shouldn't have got all Bs. Do you know what I mean?
Well,
like,
it's someone that's been put ahead, and then not getting A's. Something's gone off.
Yeah.
It's kind of amazing that your mum took you out of that school.
Yeah.
I just want to highlight that. That's such a caring, but it's a bold move to do that.
I think it is a bold move, and
especially that you've not actually directly complained of anything. You've just
she knew
read into
certain stuff was she did, and she knew stuff was going on with the girls. And the thing is, both of my sisters then had gone to that school before me, and they were sort of rubbing their hands that they were going to get another Taylor girl. So I can see it, that basically, because my sister, my older sister, so she lost my dad like the year she was doing her GCSEs. Do you see what I mean? And she still did really well and got a special award for that. And then like Amy, my mother says, she's so academic. So the other thing was, I think, being defined as the naughty one. I was naughty because everyone, like my brother could just play football and do what he was doing. He was always sort of all right. I think he was sort of just found his way and went into himself. Where the girls then were really academic, because I then struggled, it was almost like, I feel like, if I'm honest, until I started doing comedy, it was always, is Laura all right? What's she doing now? I felt very conscious of the fact that I was the unsettled one. I was the one everyone worried about.
Is there a reason, if you look back, that you were so academic? Because you wouldn't, if you're just generalising, if you'll forgive me to generalise, you know, you describe the playing out and getting into trouble and all those lovely things. You don't immediately associate that with academia.
Oh, my mum's a genius and my dad's a genius. They're both really, no, but they are.
I love it. I love
like, but both sort of, they're just really smart. They're just really smart, really well read.
But
I love reading. Well read.
Hang on. That you've always loved reading.
Yeah.
But that's your parents read.
Oh yeah.
Do your siblings read? All of them?
I wouldn't say as much as me. One of my sisters is languages. She found my sister speaks like 4 languages.
Oh, I'm such a...
I know, she's phenomenal. it's like the working class thing, and I really struggle to fit into a class. Like, I won't, without putting too fine a point in that. Like, you know, my dad was a little bit skullduggerous. My mum was really smart, but like, you know, most of her life was given to just raising children, and they were sort of a little bit tuned out of the work. Like they were just a little bit maverick. Do you know what I mean? So I've not seen, like, you know, wave my dad off to go to the factory every day or anything like that. We everything was a little bit.
Well, I've an observation of mine.
You know what I mean?
To put it subtly.
Yeah.
An observation of mine, an observation that I made quite early on being a comedian. I've been a comedian since I was, as I said to you earlier.
Bebe.
Yeah, did one gig when I was 20 and then carried on. But an observation I've made is, usually you find with comedians, there's they didn't fit into any one category. So there's always, I think if you push hard enough with a comic, you'll always find a but. You go, oh, you know, we grew up in Manor Park.
Yeah.
There's 6 kids.
Yeah.
We're playing out all the time. I got into trouble. I mixed with the wrong crowd at secondary school, and all of those things, they run off the back of one another. You gotta go, yeah, and then you go, but I read a lot.
Yeah.
You go, oh,
Yeah.
That's the but that creates the
Yeah.
separation
Yeah.
from the group you were
Yeah, of course.
with. And now, because of that, you're no longer like them.
Yeah.
And then you go into
Yeah.
so now you join. Let's say you join a book club.
Yeah.
You join a book club. There's everyone else, and they all read. And again, I'm always generalising. I kind of think it helps.
Yeah.
But they don't have your background.
No,
so
exactly,
now
yeah.
you don't fit into the book club.
Yeah.
I find that's always something that you discover with comedians. There's always that but that made them not fit in
Yeah.
anywhere that makes them the comic.
100%. You've got to have one foot out to be able to observe.
Absolutely.
You have to have one foot out of anywhere you're, and that is the thread. This is why, I mean, someone thinks I'm quite scathing, but I've said about certain comedians, I say, oh, no, they're not a comedian, like that. And it's like, whoa. But what I mean, they could probably write better jokes than me. They might be a slicker performer than me. What I mean is, it's nothing. When I say someone's not a comedian, I don't mean it as a measure of their success or their ability even.
Yeah.
A comedian, you see it, you're a fucking weirdo. You know what I mean? Like, that's it. You're not, someone said, like, I always quote her, but saying it's a diagnosis, like, you go, you're a comedian. There's nothing on this earth, Seann, that you could be other than a comedian. What the fuck else? Like, and that's when I finally gave in to being a comedian. It was like, even if a kid had come to me, I was ahead of year in school, and come to me and had to disclose something quite heavy to me, humour would still be quickly used by them.
Yeah.
Like, say they told me something heavy, and
Yes.
I mean, and I've then got to leave them because I've got to go and get the safeguarding child protection lead, and I've got to go, and this is going to be my day now. You know what I mean? And I would sort of leave this poor kid that's finally got brave enough to tell this big thing, and I'd say, okay, I'm going to have to leave you in this office. Don't nick nothing. And they burst out, and they'll laugh because it's
lovely.
It's a kindness to say, when you use humour, you're saying the world still spins on its axis. I always say comedy is a kindness, because you can say these horrendous things. Even us, we're giggling our way through this like heavy stuff, which in all intents and purposes is fucking therapy. I'm like, "Rrr."
I know.
You know what I mean? But
I'm
it's
aware
not.
of that, of the backdrop of me pressing you.
The blazer,
Got my
the
glasses on my
comfy shoes. I'm like, I'm going to start lying down. But it's a way of saying, you're all right. I'm not freaked out by what you've just told me. I'm an adult. I can handle this.
Absolutely.
And this is like, when people talk about the mental health and stigma of mental health, what you want to have is a mate where you go, oh, I'm really struggling today. I can't get out of bed. I can't even open the curtains. My anxiety. And the next time you see that mate or talk to that mate, what you don't want is them going, how's it going, Seann? Are you still have you been, Seann, since the last time I saw you? What you want is the next time you speak to that mate to either talk about the football results, gossip about someone, or say, you still being a miserable cunt. Do you know what I mean? Because then that mate still sees you as Seann.
I don't think they put this on the mental health campaigns,
No, but that's what we're talking about.
On a big billboard.
Yeah.
Your face. Still being a miserable cunt.
No, but it is that. I've got a mate that kept posting videos about his eating disorder because he overeats and he's eating disorder. His anxiety's really bad, can't get out of the house. And I just thought, he's doing my head in. I can't be mates with him if he keeps doing crying video selfies. So I sent him a message and I said to him, word on the street is you're a miserable fat cunt. Like this, yeah. And next story he posted, he was out and he basically tagged me and went, guys, I've been really miserable. Well, Laura sent me this message and I'm all right now, basically, because sometimes you got to go sort it out. Sometimes you want to sort it out. But what I mean is, you don't want to be treated differently. And this is why you share your story. You don't want to be treated differently. Do you know what I mean? And as you get older, these things about your life just become facts. But so, yeah, that's it. So the reading, what we were talking about, 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Yeah, the reading, Yeah.
And I'm going to say some obvious things here now. But reading, having an understanding of the language, it helps. I think it helps you express exactly what it is you think about something if you know the right. I remember because I'm not well read.
Wittgenstein said, the limit of your language is the limit of your world. You cannot process the world if the language is limited.
Yes. Yeah. That's fantastic.
I think what you were trying to say, what Wittgenstein said, isn't it?
Yeah, I think he's quoting me, actually. I think he's doing that off me.
I cannot bear it when I'm misunderstood or misinterpreted, or I'm not really getting what someone else.
Yeah. Same.
comedy is precision. It functions in specifics. I don't want to know where I don't want to know you went to the supermarket. I want to know did you go Waitrose? Yeah, everything. I want to know what there's precision. To not be heard and not be understood, I think that can be linked to possibly chaotic, too much freedom in childhood, and then trying to deal with the world and not be understood in that world. I want to be understood more than anything else. And I see it in my kids. This is all Instagram parenting, but when you can name their feeling properly and name someone to be heard and understood, I will keep talking till I just want to be got. Get me. I want to be seen. I want to be heard. I want to get Ambiguity is going to spin me out for the rest of the day here.
I can't stand it.
I can't stand it. Don't get me started on ambiguity. Yeah, no, but it's right though, isn't it? Yeah.
And just almost as a side note, I think with that precision in terms of comedy, the audience, I think, should always be laughing at the same thing.
Yeah.
So say you've got 1,000 people, you've got 2,000 people, you've got 300 people. Everyone is laughing at the same thing. If they're not, the joke doesn't work.
No, exactly.
We've all got the same. We've got to have the same picture. You could be imagining your mum. They could be imagining their mum, but it has to be we're all laughing at that same drawing.
Yeah.
But anyway, look, you got your books, and I suppose the books are somewhere where you could escape. Would be the classic thing,
and be seen. I love that thing of like, there's not I think James Baldwin talks about it, but you can have these experiences that you think isolate you.
Yes.
And then you read great literature and go, this is an every person thing. That's so comforting.
We've got this big gap that we've got, which is from education to stand-up.
So basically, do the whistle stop then. So then school, and then I went off to university. So I decided to do, because I did maths A level and accountancy A level, I decided to do economics and philosophy at the University of Sheffield when I was about 18. And I went and I just hated it.
Why?
Because I wanted everything I did until comedy was about, I want to be taken seriously. I want to be, I want to prove that I'm this. It was other people's approval. So I went and did that. I just hated it. I put it this way, I didn't know how much of my confidence and sense of self came from my surroundings, my street, my friends, my area, my brothers and sisters, my mum. That when I went off to uni on my own, I just fell to pieces. And also what made me feel to pieces, I didn't know myself in that context. You go to the sort of red brick University of Sheffield, I met real posh people, people that went to...
For the first time?
Oh, yeah, like really couldn't understand it like that. Anyway, hated it, left less than a year, and then dropped out, felt like a real failure, ended up working at a casino, dealing roulette, and then...
And what's happened to... We're at the casino now, but what's happened to... what's your behaviour like? So you're not...
I was a bit of a self-destructive one then, I think, definitely.
Is that drinking, drugs?
Not so much drugs, but just, drinking, or just, again, so then met the father of my first child, and he was just an absolute lunatic, and then, so got pregnant, and that was all just like a chaotic time. And then I think that was...
How old are you, do you mind me asking at this point?
I was 19 when I met him. I was 20 when I had Rosie, my oldest. And then I was just like...
Young by today's standards.
Young, yeah. And so like not quite gym slip one, but like just out of my teens really. And then...
Very much so.
And then was just like, I just never thought that'd be me. And then I ended up, funnily enough, when I was in like temporary accommodation, I was like in a mother and baby unit, and like, because it all went to pot with him, and I was like on the housing list and like being bumped from like temporary accommodation to temporary accommodation. So I ended up being like back with all the girls I was in school with them days. And it was like, oh my God, because they were all like single mums in this mother and baby unit. And I was like, it was like, and you know what, it hit me though? It was like I realised I'd been running a bit from that. Like I'd been running away from that hurt and that time. And actually you meet these people as sort of 20, 21 and go, oh, you were all just kids as well. And actually it was just really quite a healthy thing for me to like be thrust back in with the sort of girls from school, and we're all like single mums. And
it was familiar. It felt more like home.
No, it was more just closure, that you internalise all these kind of situations and hurt, and actually you then meet them as adults and you go, oh, they didn't really, it was just a mad time. Do you know what I mean? They were surviving too. They had their own shit going on too. Do you know what I mean? So
yes,
actually
absolutely.
They became friends, and that was really helpful. So then basically I had a housing officer then, and she really helped me. And I bumped into my A-level English teacher when my Rosie was about 3, and she said, why didn't you go and do an English degree? What's wrong with you? And I had no confidence because I was just a single mum. And
so you're about 23, you're still in the casino?
No. I quit that. ages ago.
What's going on at 23?
I have got a 3-year-old daughter then. I'm on my own. I'm a single mum. I'm in temporary accommodation.
Temporary accommodation. So,
and I had a housing officer that helped me out.
This is all very. That's fantastic. There's someone there to help, and they were really supportive.
And they helped me get back into doing a degree. So then I went and did a degree when she was about 3 or 4.
There's a lot of disorder.
Yeah.
I hope you don't mind me saying.
Yeah, of course.
That's a lot. That's a long stretch. If we say that you've gone mad at 10, right, which is, as you put it, at 10 you just go mad. Right, so yeah, that's 13 years.
Yeah.
You've got a 3-year-old. Now you've got a huge responsibility that's not just you. Feels like you've got to try and you've got to try and instill some order and direction in your life.
I mean, I was definitely under a lot of pressure and nursing, just the rejection of like being a single parent and never thinking that would be me. And, so it was just like trying to get that together. And I was just like I said, I think we moved house about 6 times in her first 5 years, like just because we were in temporary accommodation and like hostels and that. Now we got like a council flat, like a permanent flat, like when she was about 6. And then a couple of years later, I started teaching when she was like 8 or 9 or something. And then I met my husband when she was 10. So everything kind of started clicking into place at sort of 30. You know what I mean? She's 10, met my husband, I'm teaching. So it was like, tick, tick. I'm a good girl, I am. Do you know what I mean, Sean? It was oh, look, I've got a John Lewis voucher for my birthday from my colleagues. Everything was very nice. Do you know what I mean? So now I'm like, look at me. I'm married with a nice husband. I've got kids, and look at me. And I just had this thing of, fuck, is this it? I'm living the wrong life. Like, finally got all the things that I thought I wanted. Basically, I got normalcy. I achieved. It's like I think what I did in getting married and all that sort of. I achieved the foundations that then I could build on everything else. It's like I went, oh, okay, I've got normal now. I've got safety. I've got comfort. I've got love and security. Everything was so nice that I thought, this can't be it. This can't be it, man.
Wow. So you're about to drop this bombshell on your husband that you want to be a comedian.
I told my husband, and for our wedding gift, he bought me a day's writing course with Logan Murray, which was really cute. But I still didn't do anything with it. I still didn't feel really confident.
Did you go do it?
I did the day, and then when
writing stand-up?
Yeah, and then or just a day's course, and then when I was on maternity leave with my boy, I just knew if I went back to school at the end of maternity leave without having done something, I'd never do it. So I just signed up to this 6-week course.
Aristotle says, rather famously, he says, give me a child until he is 7 and I will show you the foundations of the man.
Yeah.
So you're about to become the thing you're going to be now.
Yeah.
The thing you are known for, a comedian. You look back at the 7-year-old now and see that's going to happen. That's going to be the case. You're going to go on, do Live at the Apollo, sell the O2 Indigo. I mean, it's just mad.
Yeah, definitely. I just think it's that the humour always being used to break tension, humour always being used to get through trauma and big stuff, being competitively funny. Like, I sometimes look at other comedians and think, God, you're not even from a funny family, are you? If you think that's funny... if like you're talking about route 1 comedy or low hanging fruit, in my family, you had to go to number 7. You had to go to the 7th thing to win. Like, that was it. You know what I mean? Like, you got to win. That's the game.
Yes.
Anytime I'm like, I don't know, I'm like, oh, I know this game. Be the funniest. Okay. That's it. It's like if I'm ever on even an open mic lineup.
It even sounds old-fashioned now, doesn't it? Be the funniest.
Be the funniest. Or someone goes, oh, we're going to put you on last. Even on open mics, but such and such is rocking up. So we're going to put you on before that. This headline. I'll be like, oh, fuck. In my head, I've seen it. I think Eddie Murphy, I want to be unfollowable. That's my only goal. You say about goals in comedy. I've got loads of goals. I want to be unfollowable. That's my only. I love the clubs. Be the funniest. I want to tear a room to pieces. I want to roof it every single fucking time. That's it.
And you do, by the way, it should be said. With the journey that you've had in your life, that word journey, but it's everyone has their own individual story. But the things, the attributes that, the playing out, being disruptive, you're disruptive at school, right? Once you get to secondary school. How have all of these things, everything that we've talked about today, how have they helped you in this new world that you entered at 37?
Yeah.
You couldn't be. It would be impossible to be the Laura Smyth you are today
Yeah, of
without
course.
every single thing happening.
Of course.
But what I want to know is, how do they actually help you?
There's two things that I think inform my stand-up, right? And morons would think that I'm just like Larry sort of thing. But I've been a teacher. I was a teacher for 10 years. I naturally, and I've been a parent for 22 years. I naturally know the needs of others. Like you're trained to know the needs of others. I can push boundaries because I know I've given assemblies or taken care of kids who have lives where these things could affect them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I'm not jumping in with rape jokes or paedophilia jokes, which people try to do as edgelords. Do you know what I mean? If I'm bracketed with people that, say what they like, just don't give a fuck. Do you know what I mean? You've got if you're going to go there in tricky subjects,
Yeah.
you've got to offset it in a way that there's not these you know what I mean? That it couldn't hurt people.
So you.
That's
sorry.
one thing.
So that thing that you're talking about. Are you saying that your life, teaching, being a big part of it, has given you a sensitivity
Yeah, of course.
towards audiences?
Yeah, of course. And you know when you're just hyper aware of other people. And I know my voice. I've suppressed my voice in certain seasons of my life.
Yeah.
I've found my
Good way of
voice.
putting it, yeah.
And when I left teaching to start stand up, which is a big part of my story, not something I dwell on, but I nearly died. I had stage 3 cancer the minute. But like so in terms of what I want, I don't want anything other than to be alive. I like every day. It gets me into trouble because I haven't booked a train because I live in today. I love today.
Wow.
I celebrate today. So I give thanks. I live in gratitude and give thanks. So when you are like that, I know I can say stuff because I know I'm not a bad person.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I know I can go there with subjects. I'm not trying to pander to anyone because I've done that in my life, and I think it makes you ill. I think it makes you ill.
So there you go. And
when you're just doing you're all right. No, but
I love it, and
I physically. This is
loved
why
it.
I had to leave teaching. I physically couldn't sit in meetings where I can't not be honest, like about things, or I have to get out of situations where I know I can't be myself. Like, oh God, I can't handle it.
Well, you've been yourself.
Thanks.
Today. Thank you very much. And I'll wrap it up with this. I think if there's someone watching this who has, whose story relates to yours,
Yeah.
and they're watching and they're thinking, oh my God, that's like mine.
Yeah.
But they've not maybe turned that corner to go on and reach out to fulfill a dream.
Yeah.
What would you say to them?
I'd always say, you've got to really practice. I think self-care is thrown about, but self-compassion. Just view yourself with compassion.
What's the difference between self-care and self-compassion?
Well, I suppose care is an action, and it can manifest in different ways. But when you're compassionate to yourself, you'd view yourself in the same way you'd view anyone else. You know what I mean? But you can really beat yourself up like that. We live in a culture of individualism and kind of accountability of like, I'm here because of me, and you're trying to change things. Sometimes you can just be compassionate and go like, I am here. You might have fucked up. It might be your own doing, or it might be things that happen to you. If you start wallowing in that, that's going to be self-perpetuating. But when you're kind of can view yourself with a sort of compassionate kind of curiosity,
yes,
to be able to look at yourself without any heavy judgment and own the shit you have done, accept the shit, all of that stuff, and still be all right with yourself. But in practical terms, start where you are. If you're here and you want to be there, it's not necessarily this big leap and big scary jump. You don't have to quit your job or do this thing.
Mm-hmm.
You start where you are. If you're isolated, can you start a correspondence course? Who is someone you could talk to? Even reach out to someone you aspire to be like. Start a dialogue. Start something, because and also don't think you've got to do it by yourself. You know what I mean? Like, when
you sound like you've had help.
Yeah,
like
of course.
Yeah, support rather than help.
Support, because when we talk about privilege, I like the fact that comedy can cross paths with people that have privilege, but they don't know their privilege. They don't know that their bottom line is so much. They don't know that.
Yeah.
So don't feel like you've got to do it all yourself. If reach out. And so when I say you start where you are, what can you do right now? What I could do in that moment, that instinct of knowing I didn't want to teach, I could do 3 hours or 4 hours on a Sunday afternoon on a comedy course.
Yeah.
I could do that.
Yeah,
I could
yeah.
just about put it on a credit card.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not advocating putting it in debt, but trust that instinct. And also trust your fantasy life. It's great to know I'm academic, but I'm not organised. That's great. Great. Don't beat yourself up for not being organised.
Yeah.
Just lean into something where you can be smart. Yeah, I've got an idea, everyone. I've done it in writers' rooms. I've got a great idea. And then everyone goes, yeah, how would that look? I don't know, that's your department. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm just lighting the papers here, man. I'm just lighting the touch paper. Like, no, and so that kind, compassionate curiosity is just with yourself, and yeah, just start where you are. Reach out to who you can, and it's nice. It's networks are nice. People you admire nice. Don't ignore who you like being with. If you like working with someone and like being with, that's not an accident. Don't go, oh, but I really think I should be in with them people. Don't go where you're. Tom Ward says a brilliant thing. Don't rattle locked doors. Don't worry. If it opens easily, good. Don't make it hard work.
Don't rattle locked doors.
Yeah, don't.
Great.
You know what I mean?
Well, thank you. We've covered a lot.
Yeah, we have.
Thank you so much. That will be 80 quid,
Yeah,
please.
no,
if you just
fucking
leave
right.
that in an envelope on the side. I've got a patient outside. Thank you very much.
Exactly that.
Laura, that's been amazing. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Sean. Thank you. I know I've covered it all.
Namaste.
Namaste. I know. Namaste, motherfucker. I know.
There you have it. I hope you enjoyed that episode. If you did, please drop a comment, give us a like, hit follow, and don't forget to let us know who you want to see on the pod next. See you next time.